guys, so we're out here on Watts Bar Lake, which is on the Tennessee River, but I don't get to fish here very often, and we're practicing for the next Bassmaster Open. And right now, I'm just kind of exploring some of these creeks. So, you know, one of the things that I like to do when I'm practicing is I like to, you know, really focus in on the areas that make me feel comfortable and doing the things that I like to do, you know. I don't tend to get outside of my wheelhouse all that often, so this time of year in September you can kind of start doing that. You can start going and doing a lot of different things, but for me it's all about fishing shallow, right? So I'm going into the backs of these creeks. You got a lot of shad movement, and where there's shad there's going to be some bass. So today I'm just trying to find those creeks that kind of are the most dynamic. I can do multiple things in them. They have the shad activity, like this creek right here on my side imaging, down imaging, and 2D. I can see all kinds of schools of bait fish. You can see them on side imaging right here, big schools, and of course you can see them on all the other sonar too. So that's what it's all about. I'm just eliminating water today. All right, so right here, you know, I've had a lot of success in the backs of these creeks, and so, you know, this is a new creek I haven't been into before, and I'm just really trying to every single creek lays up different, so it's not like I can find, you know, one specific pattern and run it, you know, in every single creek, because some creeks, you know, lay up where you've got more, you know, wood cover. Some have more grass, like this one right here has got a bunch of this pepper grass, and it's like, it's really cool because it's just little isolated patches of it. I kind of gotta go into every single creek and figure out if it fits my pattern. There's pretty much fish in every single one of these for sure. This one's pretty unique, but I think we can probably get something going back here. Not the size I'm looking for, but the activity, definitely something. Every puzzle piece helps. Oh, there's another one. Another one. They're all cookie cutter. Turkey. You don't see a turkey flying over creeks very often. Look at all those turkeys. Or at least catching. You don't need to be catching. That was barely a keeper. There's just so many good ingredients. So this is definitely a creek that I'm going to be visiting on the tournament. Probably first day, but you know, now that we've got one decent bite, I don't think we need to be setting the hook anymore. September on Watts Bar is pretty tough. Limits are going to be a premium, and so what I want to do is pick up something that doesn't have a hook, like that puppy right there, and just start marking banks where I get bit. That way I can eliminate a lot of different areas and only hone in on the most productive stretches. So that's the goal for the rest of the day. This creek really is beautiful with this pepper grass. This is, I mean, this sets up really good. Not just pepper grass, but the water clarity is really good. Exactly the water clarity I like. It's just amazing to me how few people are making it to the backs of the creeks. I get it, you know, it's like, it's still hot, but you look at the trees. I mean, look at this tree right here. A lot of the trees are starting to turn already, and even though the water temperature is still, you know, just hovering around that 80-degree range, like, all you have to do is follow the bait fish, and they're all the way in the backs of these pockets. And sure, I'm sure that there's fish all the way back, but when it comes to, you know, eliminating water, it's so much easier to you know, condense the fish in shallow water than it is, you know, where they can go off the bank and live, you know, in deeper water. So I'm always a kind of guy that likes my motor guide kicking up dirt. You know, September is a you know, a transition period for bass. because it's a transition period for shad. You know, the shad are coming from the main lake areas, and they're making their way into the backs of these creeks, especially the creeks that have running, you know, it doesn't have to be consistently running water, but if you get a rain and you have a creek that even if it's a dry creek, brings in fresh water after that or during that rain, that's enough, you know. But that's where these shad are going to, and that's why, you know, in September, you know, July, August, you're not really able to catch them shallow all that well relative to the other bites that are happening. But September, you can start catching them shallow again, which is really exciting for me because that's the way I like to fish. That's just a shame to have one lone tree. Obviously, these people are dealing with swimming cows. They feel like they need to put their fence out. Back here, I'm not hearing them flick on the surface much, but there's some I can see on live scope. There's bass. Alright, we don't need to be doing this no more. Like I said before, we don't need to be doing that because that was a good keeper. We shouldn't be setting the hook on any good keepers on this lake right now, let me tell you. All right, time to get out of here. We don't want to sore lip anymore. Say goodbye to the cows. Enjoy your dip. So right now we're in this it's actually quite a long creek. So it goes back quite a ways, and it you know, it doesn't have any like backwater or side channels or anything like that. It's just a straight creek, but it sets up perfect. I mean, you got some shad running back here, you got great undercut banks, and you know, it just there's plenty of spots for bass to hang out. And the first day of practice I came back here and had a good bite and a couple other bites, and now I just kind of want to see if there's great potential here, you know, if it's worth the run, because it's kind of the opposite direction that I'm going. So if I need to make a decision to make a run up here, I need to have a little bit more data compiled on it. All right, so we're heading out of the last creek of the day. This place I really wanted to check. I'm glad that I did, because the first day of practice I had one good bite in here and had two other bites that felt pretty small, but I ended up leaving, and it's been on my mind ever since. I've been, you know, you try to factor in areas you think have potential into your game plan. And when you kind of get spread out a little bit, like I don't have anything else in this region of the lake that interests me, but I would be willing to make the run up here if I already have a limit and maybe catch one or two big fish. But I needed to check it again. And so we checked it. It's just not happening. There's not as much potential as I thought, which is a good thing. I mean, it's good to be able to eliminate something that's really just going to distract you from the core pattern. And my core pattern is running the backs of these creeks with moving baits, primarily a chatterbait. I'm throwing a half-ounce white chatterbait, pearl chatterbait, with a Diesel Minnows swim bait trailer on it, and I think that is going to be my key bait for this tournament. I feel pretty strong about it, and really it's a pattern that I love to fish because you can cover a lot of water and you're not really having to slow down much. You just cover water, hit all the key targets in every single creek, and then just move on to the next one. So that's how I like to fish. And so we may add a couple other layers to our game plan, but overall it's all about the backs of the creeks with that chatterbait.